All right, good morning, Exploring Espresso fans. Mike here. And when we first started this channel, we talked about Brutus. We said we would introduce Brutus at some point in time. Well, we're going to do that today. So this is Brutus. Brutus is a 2014 Jeep JKU Sahara edition. I use the term Sahara a little loosely because technically it's not really a Sahara anymore with the stuff that I've done to it. Now, we're going to stop for a second. I'm going to flash a photo up and it's going to show Brutus when he first came home. Brutus was bought 2016, 2 years old, had about 30,000 miles on it when we brought him home. And as you can see in the photo, pretty stock. Over time, we've built Brutus up to a decent off-road vehicle. It crawls really well. We do a lot of overlanding stuff today, and we really like it for that. So, without further ado, it's Brutus. Oh yeah, why did I come up with the name Brutus? So Brutus obviously is red. I grew up in Ohio. So Ohio, we had the Ohio State Buckeyes and their mascot is Brutus. So that's how I came up with the name Brutus. We decided to pay homage to that. And if you look on the very back window, there is a sticker of Brutus over there. Also on those stickers, you'll see Indian Motorcycle on it and some K&N stuff. I am a Indian Motorcycle guy as well. You can see that by the jacket I'm wearing this morning, and we can talk about that another time. So Brutus is sitting on a set of 35s. These are BFGs. This is my third set of BFGs, I believe. I really like the brand. In the near future, I'm going to try some other brands to see how I go. These are 17-inch Rockstar wheels. I spent a lot of time picking out these wheels. I like the wheels. Eventually, I think I want to trade those out as well. The one thing I don't care about the wheels, and as you guys are looking, there's some things to think about too when you're modding your vehicle. These little units right here are plastic, and I have broken a few of those. You can see some of them are dull and some of them are shiny. The shiny ones are the replacement units. And they're very hard to come by these days. So keep that in mind as you're looking for your wheels. I went ahead and did the 2.5-inch TerraFlex lift. Initially, I did the original TerraFlex shocks that came with it. A couple of years ago, I was having some issues with the shocks, so we switched out to the Falcon shocks. And if I can, at least I come over here a little bit with the camera, you can look in the back. They're pretty beefy shocks. I really like them. They smoothed out the ride very well. They handle the terrain well. So I do like the shocks for that. They were recommended by my local Jeep people, truck stuff over on Washington Street in Wichita. So they did very well with that. So yeah, so the TerraFlex lift, I really like the TerraFlex lift. With the Sahara, the sway bar control connects are manual, so if you disconnect the sway bar, you have to do that yourself, and there's just a couple of clips on the front. They're really easy to disconnect. On the bumpers, went with DV8 brand bumpers. They've done me very well. I've never had any issue with them. I mean, bumpers are bumpers. I did do the stubby bumpers versus the ones that wrap all the way around the fender. It gave me a little bit more clearance, again, when I'm off-road. I did do the Smittybilt winch. I've used it a couple of times. This does have the steel cable. It is not the fabric cable like a lot of them have gone to. This is, again, I've had this for probably about 6 years, so it served me well. It does what it's supposed to do. It is not a wireless remote. You do have to hook the control unit up here, and you control it with your hand. You can, if the wire's long enough, you can take it inside the Jeep and run it in there if you need to. Of course, with every Jeep, it's got the prerequisite light bar on it. I didn't go crazy with the light bar. That is a Vision X light bar. I've used it a few times, obviously on trails and on the road, and it does very well brightening things up. I did a video a little while ago about the replacement headlights. I do have the LED headlights in it. I do like these headlights. They've done very well the last month or so that we've had them in. So I highly recommend those. Anything else that I've done to it, I did do the Rhino rack, roof rack on it, the 3-rack system. I have the basket that sits on top of it. that I can put my tent and things up top when we're going off-roading. I take it off, obviously to get it in the garage, otherwise it would never fit in the garage. It's a very solid system. Those rails do come off if you want to take them off. You don't want to ride them in, but it fits in the garage, so everything works fine. I do have the Barricade side steps on it. Those have done really well. I'll show some other photos up here in a second. That Brutus was in an accident a couple of years ago, right at the beginning of 2020. And a guy blew through the intersection. He hit me. I was doing about 35 miles an hour. He was doing about 45 miles an hour. Totaled his car out. It did hit the rail on the other side of the Jeep on the passenger side and spun me around 180 degrees. So he hit pretty hard. The only thing it did to the step was put a small dent in it and put a small dent in the frame, which they filled out and they fixed. It broke a fender. We got a new fender on it, and we got a new wheel for it because it did break one of the plastic things on the wheel, so insurance replaced the wheel. So because of that back and forth with the insurance company, and I had a little whiplash stuff going on, we did some chiropractor stuff, the insurance made a settlement. So with the settlement, Mike had always liked leather seats, so Mike decided to go with the cat skin leather seats. They are heated and cooled. In the wintertime, they are fantastic, and it gives your rear end a little bit of cooling in the summertime as well. And obviously I did the color match with the red and black to go with Brutus. On the inside of the Jeep, I'm going to try to reach around here. I just recently upgraded to the Alpine touchscreen stereo. This is the 11-inch. I really like it. It's got great sound. We wired it in with this Jeep had the Alpine stereo in it to start with, so it already had the booster and everything in it. It has a stub in the back, so it's got really awesome sound. There you can hear part of it, but we like that too.
Also has a backup camera that he never had before, that he thought was stupid and now likes it.
Yeah, I wasn't a backup camera fan, but I did the backup camera and I really like it. All right, I did go ahead and do the TerraFlex heavy duty tire carrier because, again, these tires, they're aluminum wheels, but the tires themselves are very heavy, so we did that. And as I mentioned a second ago, I did go with the DV8 bumpers. I did the matching rear bumper as well. You'll notice, guys, when you go to change your bumpers out, how light and impractical the factory bumpers are. They weigh nothing when you take them off, and they're mostly plastic. And when you go put these guys on, these guys are about 100 pounds a piece. So you gain a lot of weight when you're putting these on. So you've got a lot of strength you're adding to your vehicle. One thing I'm not going to show right now because it's crawling up underneath the Jeep, and I don't know that.
I'm not doing that.
Lisa's not going to do it. It's not necessary. I do have skid plates underneath the Jeep as well. I highly recommend skid plates. Especially if you're going rock crawling, you need to protect your transmission and your transfer case, everything underneath there that you can.
We had a neighbor that didn't do that.
We had a neighbor that didn't do that and got hung up. So I do like my skid plates. I did go with the steel skid plates because they were a little less expensive than the aluminum ones, but I do like them. What I wanted to point out back here as well, I did put a set of individual Vision X lights on the back. These are meant for the front, back, anywhere you want to put them on your Jeep. I did this so when we're camping and we set up camp, I can see what I'm doing. I do have the S-Pod switch inside above the dash that controls all this stuff. It's a really good switch panel to have. I think I've got this six switch kit that goes with it. So there's that. The other thing I want to show back here, this is more for camping. I did put in a little tailgate mount table, and it folds down. These little guys fold out and clip into place. This thing's great. We've used it quite a few times out on the road when you stop and you just want to make a sandwich. You just get your cooler out of the back, and it's a great thing to have. I can get Lisa in there with the camera. Right up there in between the two visors is the S-Pod switch control. I do use those to control my lockers and my lights and my CB.
Oh yeah, we put those panels in there too.
Oh yeah, the insulation panels that we installed, they're very thick foam. They help on the noise reduction outside. They also help on the heat and the cool because there's not a lot insulation in those roof panels on the Freedom panels. That's why we went with those. We do have the oh my goodness grips on here, so when you're off-roading you have something to hang on to. I do have from the front and the rear seat. They work great for getting in and out of the Jeep. You just grab onto it and help you pull yourself up. So the other thing I wanted to mention, I said a little bit ago about the switch pod, about controlling my lockers. So the Sahara does not come with lockers. So one of the things that I did to add to the Jeep, that's why I said loosely it's a Sahara, it's not really. It's more a Rubicon now than it is a Sahara. So Rubicon comes with electric lockers, but I installed electric lockers when I did the re-gearing. So I re-geared to 456 gears for highway speeds. They work great for me, they work great off-roading. I know a lot of guys go to 488s. 488s would have been my other option. I don't know that I would have gone to 513 for what I do because of the size of tires that I have. I'm not going to bigger tires. I'm sticking with 35s. I'm not going to 37. These serve me well, so this is what I'm doing. Along with that, about 1.5 years ago, I took the Dana 30 front end out and we put a Dana 44 front end in it. So it's a beefier front end. It's heavy duty. Then I did the Eaton locker front and rear, and so hence the switch pod inside. That's where I said it controls the lockers. Again, those don't come on the Sahara. Those come within the Rubicon. You start getting your lockers and all that. So this is Brutus, and it's everything that I can think of off the top of my head. As you enter the Jeep world, if you're getting new into Jeep world, one of the things people like to do is they duck your Jeep. These are my little collection of ducks that I have up here. They're just kind of neat and fun. I know a lot of people in the community think they're kind of silly, but they're fun. And it really just recognizes somebody sees your Jeep and they like it, and they'll throw a duck on your hood or your door handle, and they're just a lot of fun. So we really enjoy those. Like I said, Brutus has served me well. We've got some other mods we're planning for this year. We had a big meeting yesterday about a pretty major one. Lisa's really thrilled about it. But it will get us to do some other things that we're thinking about doing as well. So stay tuned as we go through the year. And as always, like and subscribe below. And we appreciate you guys.